What's up guys, my name's Ollie and today we're going to be looking at how to do a handstand.
Hey, get in my way and try to block me, I'ma show aggression. Slide on your block like Danny Glover with a lethal weapon.
So the video today is going to be a whole tutorial of how to do a handstand. We're going to be going through everything from hand positioning, how to kick up into a handstand, how to fall out of a handstand, correct handstand form, as well as different exercises you can do to build the strength for a handstand push-up. Make sure to watch all the way through the video because I'm going to be going through some exclusive tips that you can only find here on how to balance in a handstand. So let's get into it. First, let's go through the hand positioning for a handstand. When doing a handstand, your hands should be about shoulder width apart. Your fingers should be spread as wide as possible. The reason why you're spreading your fingers as wide as possible is because you want 10 points of contact rather than 2 points of contact. So spread your fingers wide, place them shoulder width apart. Where you should be looking with your eyes. You should be looking dead center in the middle of your hands and slightly in front. So that's the hand placement and where you should be looking. Next, we're going to go into how to kick up into a handstand. There are a number of different ways that you can kick up into a handstand. A few of them I'm going to just show you quickly here. There's the gymnastic style, there's the one leg kick up, there's the tuck up, and there's a pike up as well. There's a lot of other different ways. The way we're going to look at today, which I think is the best for beginners, is kicking up from a running position, so one leg in front of the other. So start in a crouch position, put your hands about shoulder width apart, make sure you're looking at a certain point and don't move your eyes, the same point that we were talking about before. Now, the most important thing to do when learning a handstand is to keep your arms locked out dead straight. If you bend your arms, this will shift your weight forward and therefore you're more likely to fall on your face and get injured. So hands shoulder width apart, you need to put one leg in front of the other like you're about to run a race. So you want to kick off of the leg that's crouched and in front and swing your other leg up and try and get your hips above your shoulders. By working on getting your hips above your shoulders and above your hands, this will help bring your whole body up rather than just kicking your legs up like I see a lot of beginners do. So kick up a few times, maybe just practice getting inverted and getting comfortable being upside down in a handstand. The next thing we're going to look at today is how to fall out of a handstand. Falling out of a handstand is very, very important because this will give you the confidence to kick up higher and harder because you know that you can fall out of it safely. So to fall out of a handstand, there are a few different ways. There is spinning out of a handstand, there is moving your hands, and there is rolling out of a handstand as well. I would not suggest moving your hands because this will put extra pressure on your wrists and can cause injuries. I would also not suggest for beginners to roll out of a handstand because rolling out of a handstand is a little bit more difficult and if you do it wrong, you can hurt your neck and your back. Therefore, today we're going to be looking at how to spin or cartwheel out of a handstand. So to cartwheel out of a handstand, if you kick up too hard, you need to just spin to the side and put your pressure onto one hand. So I'm going to show you this a few times. Kick up, spin to the side, and put your pressure on one of your arms. It doesn't matter too much which side you go to. Different people will have a preference of which side is more comfortable. You will see when you try it a few times which way you prefer to do. So far we've gone through hand positioning, body positioning, how to kick up into a handstand, and how to fall out of a handstand. The next thing we're going to go on to is how to balance in a handstand. So this part of the video makes a huge difference. Most people don't realize that you need to do this to balance in a handstand, and they're often shocked when I tell them that this is actually how you balance in a handstand. So to balance in a handstand, it's all in the fingers. What do I mean by that? So when I'm doing a handstand, I'll press my fingers into the ground if I feel like my feet are falling over my head and I want to bring my feet back towards the ground. And I'll release the pressure in my fingers if I feel like my feet are falling to the ground and I want to bring them back over my head. So this is the way you balance in a handstand. You need to be pulsing your fingers and keeping in this perfect equilibrium of balance. It may be hard at the beginning, but over time it will become much, much more comfortable. Another tip for you is to keep the pressure in your fingers rather than in the palm of your hand. This is because it's much easier to correct in your fingers than it is on the palm of your hand. So if you keep the pressure there, then you can easily correct it. Another important tip as well is to keep some space under your fingers when you start your handstand. This will mean that you can press a lot harder into the ground with your fingers and therefore it will be much easier to balance. Next, let's go through the correct handstand form. So when doing a handstand as a beginner, it's very easy for you to arch your back and compensate to try and help with the balance. This is incorrect form though. To do correct form in a handstand, you need to have open shoulders and a hollow body position. A hollow body position is where your core is engaged and your back is rounded instead of arched. This can often be difficult to do when learning a handstand, but if you learn to do it now, early on, then you'll have less trouble later on trying to correct the form. It can be useful to practice this against the wall by just standing against the wall and lifting your arms above your head and trying to round your back and keep your core engaged. It can also be useful to practice wall-facing handstands, but we'll get onto that later. So how to practice your handstand and how to practice balancing in a handstand. So my main tip for you is to practice against a wall. If you kick up to the wall, this means that when you're falling with your feet over your head, your feet will hit the wall, and therefore you won't have to keep coming back down and kicking back up and using that energy that you need to practice your handstand. You can also use a friend for this. This is really great because they can correct you both sides and therefore you can stay up for much longer. Before getting into any handstand practice, it's important to warm up your wrists to prevent injury. I'm going to show you 5 exercises that I do to warm up my wrists. Each one I would suggest doing for a minute, which means that it's a 5-minute warm-up before doing every handstand session. This will really help, as it will help prevent injuries and help make sure your wrists are warmed up. So that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like down below and also subscribe for more workouts and tutorials just like this. You can also follow me at trainwithollie.com. I've also got some exciting new stuff coming up. I've just released these wrist wraps on my website, www.trainwithollie.com. They're £10 and they're also very versatile and adjustable. You can make them looser or tighter to suit your workout needs. They're really, really great. Make sure to go check them out on my website. I also have coming out over the next few weeks, you can see my calisthenics kit behind me. This is also going to be available on my website, so you can have one just like this in your very own home. So make sure to subscribe and I will see you guys next week. Cool.